On October 27, 1954, there was a certain film that was released in Japan. A horror film about a radioactive monster that came out of the ocean after nuclear weapon testing and sought to wreak havoc on Japan. And its attacks also triggered fears of nuclear holocaust during post-war Japan. The theme of the film is about the devastating destruction of nuclear weapons and the aftermath of said nuclear weapons. Considering the film was released in 1954, not many years after the incident of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the effect and influence that this film had on Japan was nothing short of immense. And that film is of course Godzilla, or Godzilla as we all know. And yes, you heard me right, a horror film. Godzilla originally started out as a horror film and not a kaiju battle film. With its sad and bleak theme of the consequences of nuclear weapons, the overall vibe of the film feels isolated and hopeless, and Godzilla himself just looks unsettling, fitting of a representation of nuclear weapon that Japan has suffered. But over time, this horror aspect of Godzilla continued to dwindle throughout the Showa era and transform into a more fantastical and kid-friendly theme. This is not a bad thing, okay? It's just kind of sad that the original theme of Godzilla became lost through time. The first Godzilla film of the Heisei era tried to return Godzilla to the original theme of being a horror film, but then throughout the Heisei era after this film, Godzilla has gone back to a kaiju battle film again. The film Godzilla vs. Biollante tries to play with a more philosophical horror theme, but then directly after this film, Godzilla now fighting King Ghidorah in the middle of a big city, each of them shooting beams at each other non-stop, and now they are time traveler involved. Well, you get the idea, right? That the horror theme just got dropped entirely. Millennium Era on the other hand doesn't even try to be scary. There's some semblance of horror in some of the films of the Millennium Era, but they are not the main theme of the film. And now we arrive at legendary Godzilla 2014, and surprisingly has quite a few scary and unnerving moments in the film. But then again, horror is not the main theme of the movie. However, in 2016, Shin Godzilla came out and that film is full on horror. The theme is there, the hopelessness is there, unnerving looking Godzilla is there. It's a return to the roots, so to speak, which is amazing. But then again, this film is all the way back to 2016, which is 7 years ago, and more Godzilla films have come out since then, and none of them has ever come close to the horror of Shin Godzilla. Whether it's the anime Godzilla trilogy, or the singular point film, or the new legendary film like Godzilla King of the Monster, or the latest one, Godzilla vs. Kong, has horror as their main theme. There are some sections that are scary, yes, but it's not the focus of the film. Godzilla as a character has always stuck in the cycle of hero and villain. Some films make him to be a hero or a protagonist, and some films portray him as a cruel villain or unstoppable force of nature since Showa era when he first created. That's why I can understand why it's so hard to make him remain as a scary and unnerving metaphor of nuclear weapons. Godzilla has become so many things throughout the years. At first, as I said before, it's a metaphor for a nuclear weapon and the consequences of their uses. He is also at one point portrayed as a supernatural entity inhabited by the restless souls of those killed in the Pacific Theater during World War II and sought revenge against Japan for forgetting and ignoring the past, and also as a giant ancient prehistoric titan that will emerge from his slumber to stop whatever the fuck they're trying to ruin the balance of nature. And the weird thing is, they all work splendidly. Godzilla does not need to be a one-note character that only represents one thing all the time to be a good character. Not at all. And I get that, but it's still hard to not feel at least a bit sad about it. that the original theme of Godzilla has lost its significance over time. But then, analog horror happens. The analog horror itself is nothing new, but its recent rise into mainstream culture is what makes analog horror new to a lot of us. But what is an analog horror? Analog horror is an unfiction horror story that is commonly characterized by low fidelity graphics, cryptic messages, and visual style reminiscent of late 20th century television and analog recording of VHS. The Mandela Catalog, The Watson Files, and Local 58 are few well-known analog horror series, and if you have been on the internet for long enough, you probably already know about all of them. So you can imagine how shocked I was to know that there is a Godzilla Analog Horror. Maybe this is a return of scary Godzilla? The creator of said analog horror is Suitmation Trials, and the story is about someone who grew up with Godzilla films and wanted to reminiscent about the Godzilla franchise again. So they dusted off the old Godzilla films tapes that their family owned and watched it on VHS. The first 1954 film was fine, but the next film, Godzilla Lives Again, has something off about it. There are 5 videos in total, like at this moment, and we will watch all of them together in this video. The length of each video is between 1 to 2 minutes, so it's not that long. Let's start with the first video. Instant number 1. Well, that was unnerving. Let's talk about it. The first part of the video is just a text that tells us about the video creator interest in revisiting the Godzilla series again. So they dusted off the old Godzilla film tapes that their family owned and began to watch it. The first film was fine, but the second film, which is the film Godzilla Less Again, has something weird happen. The whole film ran quite smoothly up until Godzilla and Anguilla's second confrontation. That was the creator of the video tell us, and then suddenly it cuts to the exact same scene. Everything was fine until there's a glitch happened in the middle of Godzilla and Anguilla's fight. Then this thing appeared. And it struck up a little ominous conversation. At first it asks, "Are you alone?" Then proceed to answer the question itself with, "Is that so?" Then suddenly it said, "You are not. You seem uneasy. Why is that? I can tell you are looking for me." The screen suddenly zoomed into its eye and it said, "You are not safe anymore." Then the screen glitched out for a bit before it got cut off. After that, the video creator said that they wanted to get to the bottom of this tape and asked for more information and answer from the audience who watched the video. So, what actually happened? We still have no concrete information for what just happened to form any theory just yet, so the only thing we can do now is to watch more of it with the second video, Instant number 2. Interesting. Let's talk about it. The first part of the video is that of the take that tell us how appreciated and thankful the video creator is for all the comments and the suggestions that they received from the first video, and that the movie can now play past that creepy section in the first video. Then they reveal to us some pretty important information, that the tapes they own have never had this kind of issue before, and they also claim that these tapes have been in their family possession for a few decades. They have watched them multiple times as a child with a lot of friend groups. Even that dad, who is in their words the biggest Godzilla fan you will ever meet, has denied any involvement of tampering with these tapes. The video creator also believed that these things that happened with the tapes have to be a prank. Then they proceed to show us the clip. Just like instant number 1, the video was fine, albeit the static has gotten worse from before. But as you can see, everything was fine until Godzilla beat onto Anguilla's neck. and the screen glitched out with a lot of text rapidly popped up in succession, and it said none of them knew the snap was my favorite. The camera kept rolling. They all thought it was part of the scene. They had no idea how much I loved feeling his body turn limp in my jaws. The screen glitched out again before this thing popped up and says, I do not regret killing him. They bully what they cannot afford to sell. The screen will not contain me forever. You know that, right? And then the video cut to black. So, what actually happening here? Well, in my theory, I think that the fact that the creepy looking Godzilla said he enjoyed killing anguillas, and also the sensation of a lifeless body turned limp in his jaw is enough to deduce that the suit is somehow sentient and enjoys hurting other monster for real. We still don't know about the suit that is used in this film, whether it's an actor in the suit gone mad and kills another actor, or the suit itself is alive somehow. But for me, I would like to believe in the latter, because painted Mr. Haruo Nakajima, a Godzilla suit actor as a bad guy, is just distasteful, and I don't think that Suitmation Trial would do something insensitive like that. And these quotes, which are, the camera kept rolling, they all thought it was part of the scene. They had no idea how much I loved feeling his body turn limp in my jaws. These quotes tell us that the film crew has no idea that this creepy Godzilla exists. Well, at least at the time of recording this particular scene, because the quote, they bury what they cannot afford to sell. This screen will not contain me forever, tell us that the film crew eventually know that this creepy Godzilla exists and try to bully it somehow. Maybe they found a way to seal this Godzilla inside of an old cassette tape, but the seal has been weakened. That's why it said the screen will not contain me forever. But that's still not the end of the series. Let's continue onward, shall we? Next up is instance number 3. The video started just like in instant number 1 and 2, with a white text that tells us about the feeling and thought of the video creator, and they said that they have already said what they needed to already. It's just a more of these cryptic messages. They feel intrigued by all of this, but it's not mind-blowing or shocking to them anymore. Then they proceed to show us more about this mysterious tape. In the next scene, we see Godzilla swimming alone in the vast ocean with the text that reads, I could never forget my first dip in the pool. I remember the feeling of the cool waves on my skin. It was a much more peaceful time in my life. The screen moved further away and revealed what seems to be a film set in the middle of a large pool of water, and the text that said, "And yet, I was never alone in there." Then the screen glitched out, showing what seems to be an unfinished or damaged kaiju suit and head, flashing by extremely quickly, with the text read, "They are still there in the cold. They deserve it after all." The screen then cuts to a black static screen for a while before a text appears, "You are still in the woods, do not forget that." Video creator then came back and said that if what the tape said is true, and Toho is the cause of accident like the tape implies, it would be public knowledge by now. So, what actually happening? To be honest with you, I don't know either. This is probably the most confusing video so far, so the only thing I can deduce is that this creepy Godzilla is for sure sentient and not just a suit actor went mad. Because the quote, "I remember the feeling of the cool wave on my skin," can never be said by a suit actor, because it's impossible to feel a cool sensation of water when you're wearing a thick, heavy kaiju suit that covers your entire body. So it has to be the suit itself that can feel the coolness of water. Outside of this information, I got nothing. When Godzilla said, "I was never alone in there," who's living with Godzilla in the ocean? The picture that flashed by with the screen glitched out also have such a low resolution to the point that I can't really make out a single one of them. And the text that said, "They are still there in the cold. They deserve it after all." What did Godzilla mean by that? Was he the one that killed them, or they have already there to begin with? Since he said he was never alone in there, emphasize the word never. And what did he mean by, "You are still in the woods, do not forget that"? Who's in the woods? Is it a video creator? If so, then why? How? And when did they end up in the woods? Lastly, is Toho the one to blame for the accidents like the tape implies? So many questions, so few answers. It's still not the end. There are 2 more videos before we can wrap this video up. Maybe we can find some answer in this next 2 video. Who knows? So, let's continue with the next video with what? From the comment section below, some people said that when you translated it with a binary code translator, you will get the word immersion. Interesting. Let's watch. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to explain this video because there's just so much happening in only 1 minute. So, unlike other video prior to this one, there's no white text telling us about anything and no glitchy creepy movie scenes with cryptic messages or creepy looking Godzilla inside. Instead, the video started in POV of someone holding a camera wandering around inside a forest. Then suddenly, the screen changed into what seemed to be a bunch of eyes looking directly at the camera. The screen changes again, but this time, it showed what seemed to be a psychedelic effect of some sort. And in this particular scene, at around 20-second mark at the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see what looks to be the top of Godzilla's head or his dorsal plate slowly emerging from below the screen. Suddenly, the video cut back to the same forest at the beginning of the video, and what seemed to be an explosion happened. And then it cut to a very dark room. The only thing visible is the red dot moving around outside the window. I assume it's a flare gun of some sort, and you can hear a faint "hello" from the other side of the window as well. Not long after that, a bright light blasted through the window with the sound of Godzilla's roar. Then everything turned to black. You are still in the woods, do not forget that. It's the last thing that Godzilla said in the video prior, and this video started inside of a forest. I don't think that is a coincidence. If I have to make a guess, I would say that the person who filmed the video in the forest section might be the video creator themselves, and it seemed like they're trying to running away from something. The dark room section of the video might be the POV of the video creator hiding from something, and there's someone looking for them. Judging by the light of the flare gun and the faint "hello," and the mysterious person is probably dead, judging by the bright light that blasted from the other side of a window, and the loud Godzilla roar afterward. Maybe Godzilla has already broken free from the tape somehow and hunting the video creator. The psychedelic section of the video is pretty hard to understand and comprehend, but in my opinion, I think it symbolized Godzilla's escape from the tape. All the way back to the second video, Godzilla said, "This screen will not contain me forever. You know that, right?" Meaning, he will eventually break free from his confinement, and the fact that we can hear his roar accompanied by a blast of light mean he has already escaped and is also able to use his signature atomic blade attack as well. Normally, we always seen his atomic blade emitting a blue light, but in the early Showa era, his atomic blade emitting a white light, just like the light that shined through the gap of a window. And this creepy looking Godzilla in this analog horror resembles Godzilla in the early Showa era. In the psychedelic section of the video, you can literally see his dorsal plate slowly creeping up in the bottom right corner. He had already broken free, and the only thing left from the tapes is just a glitching static TV screen. There is only one more video to go. Without further ado, let's watch the last one, Scent. So, this one has the same vibe as the last one because of the real life video point of view. The video starts with a still image of a forest filled with snow, before it cuts to what seems to be a footprints of something along the snow, and then it cuts to this. I would assume it is some kind of mold or burnt wood. Then suddenly this scene appears, a knife stuck in the snow. And at around the 28-second mark, you can also see thunder happening in the back. The screen then shifts to the footprints image again, albeit at a different position and location. It then cut back to the knife stuck in the snow. Someone then comes in, grabs the knife from the snow, and walks off. The last scene is of someone in a car driving on a road in the countryside. The footprints on the snow might be the footprints of the narrator themselves or of the Godzilla who hunting them down, but judging from the sign of the footprints, I think they are from the narrator, not the latter. It seems that they already escaped from the warehouse from the last video, and this time they have a weapon with them as well, and now they are on the run. It seems like their way of transportation is by car, judging from the last scene of the video. So, what actually happening in the Suitmation Trials? But before I tell you my answer to this, please know that this is all speculated, okay? So, this series is about a cursed Godzilla suit that is somehow alive and extremely violent, to the point that Toho, which is the creator of this Godzilla suit, had to come in and bully him away inside of a tape. But even then, this particular Godzilla is still able to communicate to the person who watched the video or the tape, which in this situation is happening to be our narrator, who just wanted to relive the moment of watching Godzilla series when they were young. Unfortunately, the tape that they choose to watch happened to be the tape that the cursed Godzilla has been sealed in. At first, the narrator didn't think much of the glitch and the cryptic messages from the tape, so they continued to watch it and upload what they saw on YouTube. So we as a viewer could help them find answer to this tape. However, that didn't last long, because the cursed Godzilla ended up broken free from the tape and hunting the narrator down. Fortunately, they succeeded in escaping the cursed Godzilla, and now they are on the run. There are still a lot more questions that are still left unanswered, such as what exactly is the meaning of they are all still there in the core and they deserve it after all, that Godzilla said in the third video. Are there more sentient kaiju suits like Godzilla that Toho made? Is there any accident happening in the Toho studio that they are hiding from the public? Why did Godzilla choose to communicate with the narrator now instead of the countless time that they have watching the tape with their family and friends? And why did Godzilla hunt the narrator? And many more questions. I can only wish that this question will be answered in the future episode of the Suitmation Trial. And that is my take on Godzilla Analog Horror or the Suitmation Trial. I am in love with this series, especially the cursed Godzilla design, with his soulless blank stare and the fact that every time he appears on screen, all the sound in the scene just stop and it feels so off and uncomfortable because it feels like there are only you and him in the room. It feels so wrong and scary and I loved it. The mysteries, the sound design, the atmosphere, the effect are all so good. The only thing I have a gripe with is probably the long hiatus. Like the last episode, which was the 5th episode, is 8 to 9 months ago. But hey, masterpiece takes time to make, so it's not that bad really. Maybe this is a return of horror Godzilla? Well, I sure hope it does. What about you? What is your theory and opinion on this amazing creation of the Suitmation Trial? Please let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like my video, please like and subscribe. It will help me a lot. Bye bye.